Okay, so I'm going to show you a march that has a lot of uses and actually does a lot of damage against people that are stronger than you are. It'll actually surprise a couple of you, but this march works pretty well in a lot of scenarios. So what am I talking about? This is a march formation that I use. It's my second troop formation because I use it so often. And what is it? I just have one of each cavalry, bowman, and infantry in my army. I don't use siege troops because they'll slow the attack way down, and siege troops don't really add much damage to it. So as you can see, I just have one of every tier 11, cavalry, bowman, infantry, one of every tier 10, one of every tier 9, all the way down to tier 1. So this march has 32 troops and 1557 power for me. Might have less troops or more troops depending on how many tiers you have available. So what does this march do? Let's just teleport here for a minute, maybe more than a minute. So right here is a Stronghold 35 player, same Stronghold as I am. They have 247,879,339 power. Let's go ahead and scout them and see if they have any troops in their castle or not. So they have 868,416 troops. Now if I send normal march this person of like 260,000 troops, which would be this march, I send a mixed march usually in most of my attacks. If I sent this at the person, my whole march would wind up dying, and they'd lose very little because their stats are about the same as mine are. And they have like 4 times the troops that I do. So what if I use this magical march I made up, where I send one of each tier to attack? So how's the attack? As you can see, I just sent one of each troop tier, excluding siege troops. And they can check their power if they have a anti-scout on, and keep track of what they're losing. So they had 247,879,339 power before I hit them. And after I attacked them, they went down to 247,877,416 power. So they lost about 2,000 power, and they had like 850,000 troops. And all I sent at them was 32 troops. And their stats are pretty much the same as mine are, because I've seen them in the past. So I sent substantially less troops. They had like over 10,000 more troops anyway than I did. I only lost my 1,556 power, and they lost about 1,900 power. So they lost more power than I did. Another super big bonus to this strategy is that every single troop you use to attack actually only gets wounded. None of them die. Let's go and check my hospital. As you can see, heal your troops. 32 out of 239,000 available to heal. So all the troops that I sent at that person are all in my hospital ready to heal back up. None of them died. Even though my wounded conversion is only 30%, 100% of your troops live and get wounded. Because if you send one of each, the game thinks 30% of one is one, so everything heals. You'll lose absolutely no troops whatsoever by doing this. Just resources to heal your troops. So if you're like in a big alliance and you just spam attack somebody with these marches, and you have like 10 people doing it at the same time, you can make them lose a lot of troops very fast. And you lose absolutely no troops. So in the first scout report, they have 868,416 troops. Then I attacked them with my one troop of each tier formation of each troop. Then they went down to 868,257 after that one attack. So they actually lost like 140 troops. I only sent 32 troops at them. So basically what they lost was just tier 2 troops. Because even tier infantry die off first, lower tiers. So they lost 140 tier 2 infantry troops. So if you had like a bunch of people spam attacking this person, you could easily fill up their hospital and then start making them take permanent losses. This is also another reason why training tier 2 infantry is a bad thing to do, because they just wind up dying off super easy to any attack and fills up your hospital. It's like this guy had 1 million tier 2 infantry. I could easily fill up their hospital just by doing this one troop march attack. And yeah, again, if I attack this guy with a normal march, I'd probably lose my whole march. And they'd lose very little because they have the same stats as I do, but they have 4 times the troops that I do. So by using this march, I lose absolutely nothing, and they're actually losing more than I do. It's pretty effective. There's also another use for this march as well. If you attack somebody, like if I attack this guy with a 32 troop march, let's say some other person tries to reinforce him because they're trying to defend their members. Once my march hits and then it dies, my dragon's instantly back at my castle, so I can send a real march to somebody else. So you can try and like basically bait and switch. So you can always keep them guessing. If you have a troop skin on, they can't tell what you have in your army that's attacking until they have troops in the castle to see what you have. Now, same strategy actually works against people that are much stronger than you. Because I only have about 5,000 stats. And I've attacked people that have 8,000 stats. And they wind up losing like 1,000 power each attack. And I lose at 1,500. So sure, I'm losing more power, but their stats are just insane. So in like a normal circumstance, you'd never be able to attack them with a normal march. Because you lose the whole march, they'd lose like 1% of what you send at them. Because their stats are so much higher than yours are. So by using this strategy to attack them, you lose slightly more than they do, but you're actually costing them a lot compared to what would usually happen. Let's try and find one of these people. So this guy right here is the rank 1 guy in the server. No one ever attacks him because they're all chickens. Let's teleport here. So this guy has over 1 billion power. He's the number 1 guy in the kingdom. He has the best stats in the kingdom. He probably spends like $30,000 or something. Probably more than that. He buys stuff as soon as it comes out. Doesn't wait for it to go on sale because he's a noob. So he has 1,147,197,735 power. So let's attack this dude with my magical march. He has like 8k, 9k stats. My stats are only 5k. Let's see what happens. So here's the attack. So what happened to his power after that attack? Well, he had 1,147,197,735 power, but now he has 1,147,179,000. Wait, 197. Okay. Now he has 1,147,170. Now he has 1,147,197,234 power. Something like that. So anyway, he lost 500 power. This guy has 8k, 9k stats. He has millions and millions of troops in his castle. As you can see, he has 9.5 million troops in his castle. This dude's a top player. Top spender. I can attack him with 32 troops and make him lose 500 power. Now I lose 1,500. That's actually pretty good. Because if I sent a real march to this dude, I'd lose all my troops. He'd probably lose like 1,000 troops or something. So by using this special march, you can actually make them lose a substantial amount more. You just take a lot of attacks to make them lose a lot. So as you can see, he had 3,807 troops. Then he dropped to 3,770. So my attack of 32 troops actually killed 37 of his troops. Even though he has 9k stats, he has 10 million troops in his castle. I send a small elite fighting force of 32 at him. He loses 37. It's like if we were at war with this guy, which I am, but then if I had like a lot of people in my lines, which I don't, we could basically just spam attack this dude all night long when he's sleeping. They'd wake up to hundreds of thousands of troops being dead. We'd have absolutely zero losses because they all go straight to your hospital. Let's check the hospital again. Now the hospital has 64 troops. One from the other march, and then another one from this march. So 2 of each troop. They all go to the hospital. See, like if I had 20 guys that were online, this guy was asleep. Sure, you could mega rally him, but then you're going to obviously have losses. You're going to lose like 60% of your troops. If you have your wounded conversion on, you lose like 40% of your troops. By attacking this guy my way, you lose 0 troops. They all get wounded. So you spam attack somebody all night long. They wake up to thousands and thousands of battle reports. And they'll be like, what the heck just happened? Why are my troops dead? Why did they just get wounded troops and mine are dying? What's happening? I think you're like hacking the game or something. And also someone has like an anti-scout on, you can kind of use this to like basically scout them. So if someone has anti-scout on, you basically have no way of knowing what they have in their castle. But then if you send this march at them with 32 troops, or one of each troop of each tier, except siege, you can keep track of their power and how many troops they lose. And basically if they're losing like double your power, like if I lost 1,500 by doing this march and they lost 3,000, I can tell that they're pretty weak. Because they're actually losing a lot of troops. So I can send a normal attack against them. If they're losing like 500 power, I'm losing 1,500 power. Like this guy, they're obviously pretty strong. They have a lot of troops. They have high stats. So you just keep track of what happens to people's power after using this march. You can use that as like a guideline to tell how strong people are. So they can basically get a large amount of people spam attacking someone when they're sleeping. And they'll wake up and they won't be happy. So once you overfill their hospital, they'll start having permanent losses. So if they have a lot of tier 2 troops, their hospital's going to fill up really fast by using this strategy. So yeah, just another reason, don't train tier 2 troops. I don't know why people always say to train tier 2 troops. You can use my strategy against them, knock their army down, fill up their hospital really fast, fill up the sanctum really fast. Then they start having super permanent losses. That'd take like a long time to do that though. But still, if you have 20 people attacking the guy non-stop, using my march, it actually adds up pretty fast. Because I made him lose 37 troops, and this guy's like over double my power. He has pretty much like double my stats. I have 5k, he has 9k. Even I made him lose 37 troops. So if you have 20 people doing that to him, that's like 700 troops each attack. Do that all night long, it'll do some damage. And if you have a Shadow Dragon combined with this strategy, you can start sending like 5 marches of this at somebody when they're sleeping. Keep the marches going non-stop all night long. I have like 5 people doing this. Everyone else has no Shadow Dragons attacking them normally. So once you do not send a dragon with this march, the damage goes way down. Like if I attack this guy with no dragon with the same exact march formation, he'd probably lose like 1 troop, if even that. Having your dragon with the march substantially improves the effectiveness of this. You need your dragon to do this if you want to cause damage. This is also why when you check my stats, it says I've lost 1,433 attacks. That's because I use this march a lot. So your win ratio is going to look pretty low after doing this, but really, who cares about win ratio? So I actually have a video doing this to somebody like a month ago or something. And I made them lose 60,000 troops before they logged on and shielded. And that was like within 30 minutes. I made them lose 60,000 troops within 30 minutes of doing this. So if you can do this like for hours and hours and hours all night long and you have multiple people doing it, you can make them lose millions. Not even joking. Because this guy's one of those guys who trains a bunch of tier 2 infantry. He has 1.5 million. If I hit this guy all night long and we had like 9 other guys doing it, his hospital would be full, his sanctum would be full. Then it'd bump up to tier 4 troops, then tier 6s, then tier 8s, tier 10s. Like eventually you'd clear out a lot of his infantry, then his army's going to be a lot weaker. Then he can mega rally him. So you can also use this to like clear out someone's infantry before you do a real march attack against them. Once their infantry's gone, you start doing real attacks against them. And you lose like way less. So if you're like a solo player, you can use this to basically troll people overnight. You'll also wake up and have thousands of troops dead. Because I was costing the one Stronghold 35 player more power each attack. You just do it to troll people. Because it costs them more than it costs you if they're on the same stats. If they have more stats, it costs you more than it costs them. But then once their hospital's full and pays off. You need to have a lot of players to use this against a stronger player to make it be effective. If you're a solo player, you can use this against people around your strength. It costs them more than it costs you. So it is pretty interesting. It's my trademark. I use it a lot. It's a good march. If you watch this video, you need to use this march against someone 1,000 times when they're sleeping. And have them wake up in the morning and read their battle reports. And they'll see that their troops are getting wounded. And all you're doing is sending like 20 troops at them, 30 troops at them. They'll be super angry. And they'll be losing more power too if they're on the same stats as you are. They lose more power. It's actually hilarious. Let's just finish off doing a couple more attacks on this person, because why not? Now if they also have anti-scout on and you're doing this to somebody, if you want to keep track of their troop losses, all you have to do is look at your leaderboard troop kills. Every time you attack them, your troop kills are going to go up. So you can keep track of what you're killing. Even if they have anti-scout on. If they have no anti-scout on, you scout them. Or you keep track of their power by viewing their profile. If they lose more power than you when you're attacking them, each attack, it's worth it. So there we go again, another attack against this guy. So they dropped about 3,000 power after that, compared to the last number I'd written down. So now they have 2506. This person has about the same stats as I do, they're the same stronghold as I am, they have the same tier troops that I do. So 2506. That dropped them to 0781. So they lost about 1,700 power in that attack. So they're losing more power than I am each attack I do. So I could just do this all night long if I wanted to. Cost them more than it cost me. And then again, if I send a real march at this person, My whole march would wind up dying. They lose way less than I do. But by doing it this way, they lose more than I do. It just takes more time to do this. But who cares? If you really hate somebody, just do it. You could also modify this a bit and take off infantry, because they don't do as much damage as the other troops do. So then your attack would be a bit more effective, but then you kill off less of their troops. So I send infantry with it to kill off more of their troops. Even though infantry don't do as much damage as cavalry or archers. So you could modify this march however you want. Just send one of whatever tier you want to send. Cavalry and archers, or cavalry, archers, infantry. Doesn't matter. Just imagine doing this to somebody and having like 25 people doing it at the same time. They'd wake up, and their whole city would be zeroed just off of like 30 troop marches. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, again, you need to have your dragon with this march, and then you also want to have heroes that boost damage in any way. Because the reason why this works is because all the troops on your side get to attack, and all the troops on their side get to attack. And then it calculates it, so you're guaranteed to do damage to them after an attack. There's no such thing as attacking someone and doing 0 damage. You have guaranteed damage because your troops always attack no matter what first, and their troops attack and then calculates it. That's round 1. This is why it's so effective. So they could have 100 billion troops. You could send 30 troops at them and they'd still lose troops just off the way the game's programmed. Because both sides do their damage, and after that it calculates it and starts killing troops afterwards. So you're guaranteed to do damage. And the reason why you lose so much power is because in this game you have diminishing returns. The more troops you have of the same exact tier, the less and less damage they do. The attack damage returns of the troops go down the more troops you have. So if you just send one of each, you're actually doing maximum damage. This is like the best march in the game. It's amazing. You lose nothing. You're getting maximum damage out of your troops. They also get wounded. They're killing off more of their troops than they are of you, if they're equal stats. Now the obvious counter to this is just to have your city inside of a territory. So the nearest attack is like 5 minutes away. Because you can't teleport inside someone else's territory still. It's a pretty dumb game update, in my opinion. If I could teleport next to this person, I could start spam attacking them a lot more easy. This works pretty good against people that are on the edge of the territory, because you can start spam attacking them. If they're more in the middle, it's going to be harder to do this. But they do have the Dragon Ultra ability now, I think, where you can invade other alliances' territory, so you have to be a high enough alliance level to do that. But I can't do that yet. So I just look for people on the edge to do this too, or if I feel really bored, I'll attack someone in their own territory in the center. It just takes a lot longer to attack them. It's kind of a waste of time if they're that far away. But if they're super close, you can get this done in like every 10 seconds you do an attack. You can start doing massive damage if they're asleep. This whole territory thing sucks. You should honestly remove that and just make it so you can teleport inside people's territory. It's a pretty dumb update. Pretty dumb. Very dumb. Super dumb. It's probably the worst update they ever did. They kind of took a step back and let you use a Dragon Ultra to invade. But my alliance isn't high enough level to do that. It's kind of unfair towards me. King of Avalon doesn't care about the small players like me. They don't care. They just care about the money. Anyway, you use this on someone that are sleeping for 8 hours straight. Just do it. Do it. Do it.